Chapter 75. Who are you? Stefan's face was frozen in terror, his body slumped on the ground. There was no hint of arrogance left in his trembling voice. He was soundly beaten after just 3 attacks. This proved the disparity in their abilities. How could there be someone with such devastating powers remaining unknown in a small place like Swinton? I'll be honest with you. I'm Fletcher Lawson. Liam and Noah were my apprentices. Fletcher said coldly. What? You are Mr. Lawson of Coulsbridge? Stefan was dumbfounded at this revelation. His reputation as martial artist preceded him. Fletcher was not only one of the most prominent fighters in Coulsbridge, but he was also a master of poison. There were many tricks that he could use to make someone drop dead without a trace. His mere presence was enough to make one's blood run cold. You seem to have heard of me. Fletcher sneered. When Fletcher revealed his identity, Stefan's face had turned as pale as a sheet. If he knew that Fletcher was involved, he would definitely not have accepted this task. Fletcher wasn't someone you would want to have as an enemy. Crossing him would only be inviting death. Who will fight in the last round? Edwin asked loudly. Natasha's men looked at each other in silence. If Mr. Chapman couldn't even land a blow, the rest of them would be easily annihilated. No one dared to volunteer as it meant signing one's own death warrant. Sis, what shall we do? Are we going to lose? Ruth was fraught with anxiety. Who could be on par and fight against such overwhelming power? Punk. Are you game to fight a match against me? Fletcher directed his gaze at Dustin. His gaze was brimming with hatred and anger. Why not? Dustin gave a careless smile. As he was about to step into the ring, Ruth pulled him back. What's wrong with you? I'm going to accept his challenge, Dustin answered. Accept his challenge? Do you know how to fight? Ruth asked suspiciously. A little. Dustin nodded. And you dare to accept his challenge when you're bad at fighting? Are you attempting suicide? Ruth exclaimed in frustration. Do you know who that is? Fletcher Lawson is a formidable opponent. Being foolhardy will only bring about your destruction. Don't worry, I can handle it. Dustin smiled. Although Ruth's words were sharp, she had good intentions. Bullshit. Ruth glared at him. What's the use of you going up to fight when Mr. Chapman couldn't even defend himself? Stung by Ruth's indirect insult, Stefan chimed in sarcastically, Don't overestimate yourself, punk. If you can't even defeat me, it is impossible for you to fight against Mr. Lawson. Your defeat doesn't mean I have absolutely no chance, Dustin said calmly. Youngsters like you will be the death of me. Do you think so highly of your abilities? Stefan was annoyed by his impudence. Well, just wait and see. Dustin didn't explain further. Dustin, are you really sure? Natasha spoke up suddenly. I think I'll be fine. Dustin nodded. All right, give it a go, but admit defeat if you have to. Your life is of utmost importance, Natasha smiled as she gave her permission. Sis, are you joking? Are you really going to send Dustin to his death? Ruth couldn't believe her ears. Ms. Harmon. The entirety of your assets are on the line. If this punk loses, you will lose everything. Stefan was anxious as well. I believe in Dustin, Natasha said with finality. She had full confidence in him. Enough with the small talk. I'm going to send you to hell. Fletcher shouted impatiently. He was dying to get his hands on Dustin and cut him up into tiny pieces. Dustin ignored Fletcher's taunts and walked up to him silently. Since Edwin had specifically asked for him to be here, it was obvious that he wanted revenge. If so, Dustin had no qualms about giving him what he wanted. This is awful. He is going to die. Ruth stomped her foot in frustration. Ms. Harmon has been taken in by this punk's overconfidence. What a pity. Stefan shook his head, sighing. Clearly, he did not expect Dustin to return in one piece. Punk. Was it you who killed my apprentices? Fletcher glared at Dustin with hostility. To be accurate, both of them committed suicide, Dustin answered carelessly. Noah killed himself because he refused to provide Dustin with information. On the other hand, Dustin hadn't even touched a hair on Liam's head. Liam had been the one who attacked him. However, he died from the overpowering recoil. It was only right to say that they killed themselves. You still dare to deny it at this last moment of your life. Today, I am going to exact revenge for the death of my apprentices. Fletcher's face twisted with hatred. Sure. This depends on your abilities. Dustin was unaffected by Fletcher's threats. Arrogant punk. I'm going to wipe you from the face of the earth. Fletcher roared. He concentrated the force in his feet and sprinted toward Dustin with a burst of sudden energy. His movements were as fast as lightning, causing large cracks to appear on the ground. That's crazy. Stefan exclaimed in awe. Fletcher had not even revealed his full strength when he was fighting against Stefan before. Go to hell. Fletcher summoned his energy and unleashed a powerful punch in Dustin's face. The vibrations from the attack formed a torrent of energy that swirled around them and sent debris flying around. Everyone took a few steps back to avoid getting injured in the aftermath harm. Just when everyone thought that the outcome was decided, Dustin made his move. He stretched out his arm slowly and gave Fletcher a firm, tight slap on the cheek. The impact on Fletcher's face created a loud cracking noise. At that moment, Fletcher seemed like he was hit by a moving train. His body was flung several yards away like a dirty rag and crashed into a wall, creating a deep crater. There was absolute silence as everyone was dumbfounded at the extraordinary turn of events.